Hey everyone, this is Patrick McNeil from Oak City Locksport, and today we're going to talk about Sesame lock bypasses. If you follow Deviant on YouTube, you may have seen his video about a month ago where he talked about how the original Sesame lock design has been copied by other manufacturers, so they all share the same flaw. Essentially, a thin metal shim can be inserted between the dials. You take the pressure off by depressing the shackle, press down on the fingers of the plate inside using a small shim to move the locking tang out of the way and release the shackle. However, as Deviant said in his video, the lock manufacturers have tried to make this harder by closing the gaps around the dials. Each of the locks he showed have slightly different tricks to bypass them. So Deviant sent these locks out to the community so we could get our own hands on them, and without fail, Max Power, who has done a lot of research on Sesame bypasses, came through with a bit of a guide for each of these three manufacturers. I was the next to receive these, so I benefited from his guidance and spent more time on the master. So in this video, I'm going to demonstrate the bypass on each of these locks and show you a bit of a technique that I've found very successful at getting around the new protections and tolerances that Master has introduced. The tools I'll be using are all 6 or 7 thousandths thickness and very flexible but also quite durable unless you apply leverage using the handle. So pro tip, hold the flexible shim itself and don't try to manipulate it using the handle. I had an old one break off in the master that Deviant shipped, so I had to replace it. Shown here from top to bottom are the older in orange and newer Peterson knife and the easy decoder from lockpicktools.com. First, let's start with the CCL Sesame lock. Taking the Peterson mini knife, I insert it just to the right of the second dial from the left. Not quite all the way in. Depress the shackle, work it down on the fingers, and release. Next up is the Brinks. For this one, we're going to go in on the left side of the first wheel, and we're going to slant down just a little bit, get it in part way, hold the shackle down, and push it in most of the way. Push down and try to release the shackle, and this one is a little bit sticky, so I had to bounce it a couple times. Given that the Master 175 tolerances are quite tighter now, the bypass is more achievable with this slight modification of both tools and technique. The Peterson knife still works after working at it for quite a while, but I've found that the more pointy end of the easy decoder works more reliably. So let's go step by step on the master, first with photos and then we'll illustrate with the video. On the left side of the third wheel, first you push the decoder in slightly up just to get in, then back it out slightly but not all the way while rotating the tip downwards until that tip drops into what feels like a bit of a notch. Then you can push it in slowly, slanting slightly down. Hold the shackle in a bit and push in further. Then of course push down on the fingers and release the shackle. As you're practicing, you may bend up your shims, but you can straighten them out with a pair of rosary pliers that are made for bending craft wire. Simply rotate the rosary pliers slightly and give it a couple passes in a couple of different directions. Hopefully others can benefit from my little tweak to the Master 175 bypass. I've had my fun with these locks, so it's time to send them on to the next person. Special thanks to Deviant for putting this together and to Max Power for his expertise. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.